So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 6th installment of Rhymes Don't Pay. As you can see down there, that isn't Fawaz, that is indeed Shiv, fellow Tourism and Dave member. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Shout out T Dave. I am Shiv, not Fawaz. The main member of T Dave, some might say, the co-founder for sure.
For sure.
It's to be seen as to how much I actually involve myself in input, but we'll live with that.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter really.
It's like I try to think of a member of a group that like is just a member and doesn't really do that much, but he's just important. I know there's someone out there they're like, what do they actually do? But there's just like the key.
At least someone in Westlife, you know.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Luke, by the way. I'm here as well.
They all know Luke.
Good to see you, mate. That Muzz is looking strong.
Is it?
Yeah, it's looking good.
I've done no like November things for it, and I feel bad. I've just
you've just had a touch, mate. You've grown that 70s porn star look, and I dig it.
What it was is actually he wasn't doing November at all. I told everyone this in the first podcast. Luke isn't doing November. He's actually just got his. That's what he does. He has his mustache looking like that always.
Yeah, that's it.
Just cloud chasing with a tash.
Yeah, so Fawaz isn't here. If you didn't watch the last podcast, the reason why is because he's dead.
RP Fawaz, man.
Dead to us, at least. So yeah. That was a horrible cough. What we're going to do is just have a little bit of a chat today. The first one...
We're really not going to say he's got exams. Like, we're just going to say he's done.
We're just going to say he's dead. We're just going to say he's dead.
That bit's just a cutscene that we cut out and add on as a blooper at the end, just a clarification. But people at this point think he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We need like a face with RP Fawaz 20.
Just hold a vigil, a candlelight vigil for Fawaz. Yeah. So we're just gonna have a chat today. Basically, because Fawaz is very analytical of his music stuff, so it doesn't feel right doing music reviews about him. RIP. So the first thing I wanted to get into was the Dutchavelli thing, which is the main thing that's come up over the last week or so. Like, it's been absolutely massive. What are your two thoughts on it? But what I'll say first, I'll explain what's happened to people that don't know. Dutchavelli got hacked on Instagram. Dutch is obviously a massive drill rapper nowadays. And basically it exposed him speaking to T Zandos and like saying how much he wants her. She was potentially 17 or 18 at the time. Not illegal, but iffy. He tried setting up Meeks Manny for H, saying he can get him banged when he was in the studio trying to set him up. It was just a little bit snaky. And then most importantly, it exposed him potentially grooming a 14-year-old girl. Both the family came out and said that obviously he's got ties to them because it was like his old manager's niece or daughter or something like that who died. It's a weird one. But then the guy's uncle came out and commented on it saying, bro, you're literally grooming her. What the fuck are you doing? But they think the mother just got paid off to say it. It's a weird one. Doesn't make any sense. But there's been lots and lots of screenshots of and kind of conversations from him that have shown him kind of talking to minors and stuff, but obviously you can't know the legitimacy because it's coming from other people rather than his account on those ones. So it's a bit of a weird one. It might be edited, so you don't know. He's obviously come out and said it was a family friend he was talking to, and he was there to support or whatever, but he was like, asking to see her toes and that. So it's like, bro, like how many 14-year-old family
Dylan
friends
O'Shea would do anything for a good pair of toes. So.
Fuck's sake, shit, you're gonna get us sued for libel.
Dylan's gonna actually sue us. Dylan's sued.
Fuck's sake. But yeah, no. So like, he's obviously out in Dubai, whatever, doing his life. People were just going like basically nuts for him, basically being exposed for being a paedophile. And if anyone wants more clarification on it, go and follow the page on Instagram, Dutchavelli. It's got about 50,000 followers already. Honestly, it's got about 50,000 followers, and everything that's gone wrong, everything that's fucked up is on that page. And like, people have been going around London tagging like nonce, paedophile, and all this because his album just came out, Dutch on the 5th, like on all of his adverts across London, and like they're all getting taken down. So a lot of people come out and spoke against it. Asco, Seabears, Bouncer, loads of people basically saying to cancel him, but we'll get into that later. But I was just wondering what your two thoughts on it, because you two can be sometimes more pragmatic in your approach to things than me, whereas I'll just be like, fuck him, he's a nonce.
I'm going to be honest, mate. I've got to go with the fuck it, he's a nonce approach on this one.
I'm going to have to agree with that.
I can't even try and be pragmatic. The man's talking to children.
Yeah.
14 years is not good. Like that's Nazi behaviour. There's no backing out.
There's no two ways about it, mate.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is as well. If it was a family friend who's supporting, like whose dad's just died, who was his manager or whatever, like yeah, fair enough. Like if you're gonna do it, but don't do like heart eyes and love faces and ask to see their toes and shit and reply to their story saying they look flames, bro. That's suspect. You know what I mean?
There's a way of being supportive, and that I'm afraid is not it.
No, that's just trying to fuck a 14-year-old.
There's no need to ask a 14-year-old for toes in the process of trying to support them, you know?
We can go into we don't know this, we don't know what he meant, whatever. What you've said, what you've just described is like paedophilia, basically.
Yeah, it's very hard to see otherwise. Like he can try and say, you know, you lot don't know the situation, but I don't know, if you put that in front of a jury in a court of law, they'd say that's probably grooming, mate. You know what I mean? So
I feel like the situation doesn't change a lot about that. Regardless of the circumstances, what we see in front of us is him grooming a 14-year-old, and that's like the hard evidence, really. Yeah. And whether or not it's from his accounts or whatever, no one's going to believe otherwise that he meant something else by what he was saying. Like, it's very hard to have two meanings to let me see your toes, on my days you look flames. They're very, very like clear statements.
And a lot of them from his account, because he likes sending voice notes, and that's what's got him, because bro, he has such a distinct voice that it can't be anyone else. You know what I mean? So that's really shot him in the foot. Like the fact he likes sending voice notes, because other than that, you could say that's anyone's account. You know what I mean? Like if you wasn't sending the voice notes, you could say the screenshots from anyone's. So
rumor has it was Luke doing the Dutch voice.
Whoa. What?
Shiv's come on it and just tried to destroy everyone. This is what's happened. He's just throwing accusations.
I'd love to see the proof. I'd love to see you clear your name, Luke.
We're 5 minutes in, and he's come for me.
But yeah.
What?
I mean, just to clear up. Just to clear up everyone.
Resurrect Fallout, man. Come on.
Just so everyone knows, it wasn't actually Luke that.
Just for clarification.
Just to clarify, that wasn't him.
Cheers, guys. Wow.
Well, and also another thing that's just came out is a really old freestyle with Dutch before he went into prison. It's from like 2011, and if you go watch it, it basically says the top comment on it now is like 2,000 likes. I wouldn't have liked it because that's me. And basically the top comment is Dutch is moist. He chats to youngers, and it's from 9 years ago.
Yeah, that seems valid now, doesn't it? Yeah, it seems pretty accurate.
Yeah, like why would
somebody that foreshadowed
the future? Yeah,
the thing is, like Dutch might have always been like this. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, we're not going to get into like Kojo funds and that, but there's been a few drill rappers and other rappers that have been suspected nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So
it's pretty mad that like their boys just let them get away with it. You know,
that's the issue. Is that some of their friends
just enable it, man.
Yeah. Some of their friends have obviously said, "Fuck, like, what the fuck's wrong with you?" And then other ones haven't. But yeah, it's just very suspect. And yeah, so people are calling to cancel him, and we had a brief discussion about this off camera, and basically I was saying that he shouldn't be cancelled for paedophilia. Like the ramifications of that are a lot more. A lot more serious, because sometimes when people get cancelled, like how many times have someone been cancelled and they actually stay cancelled? You know what I mean? Which is one thing.
Yeah. See your point, but like I said off camera, the issue is that them doing time doesn't necessarily lead to their fan base realizing that they're bad people, and as soon as they've done their time or whatever, or their 15 minutes of like being in the limelight is like finished, and they come back out and release new music, people forget about the bad things they've done.
Yeah.
So maybe cancel culture is necessary in order to actually end that person's career.
Yeah.
Especially if they've done something bad like that.
There's still people that will back him no matter what, unfortunately, that won't see anything.
But then
would just not believe what the evidence is.
I'd be much more likely to not listen to Dutch again if he was arrested than if he was cancelled.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do completely get what you're saying. But
and also I think it's a difficult one with, obviously, this is like paedophilia, allegedly. We have to say allegedly so we don't get sued.
Allegedly.
Somehow.
Yes.
So this is all alleged. And basically, yeah, so, and like with R. Kelly, it's a weird one with sex crimes and paedophilia and stuff. Like, people can see that's like there's no excuse for it. Like with Chris Brown, people try making excuses of like Rihanna hit him first or whatever, and people will always make that excuse of like self-defense or whatever. When it comes to like paedophilia, you don't have an excuse. You know what I mean? There is no.
I've only got one counter to that, really, and like even then, like this could be completely wrong, but Tekashi 6ix9ine was like, had links to like paedophilia and stuff like that, and talking to underage girls, and like he's still out there doing his thing. And
he's not anymore though.
Still love him.
He's not.
I don't know. He's still like,
bro.
He's still like
his latest album flopped.
That stuff.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough.
I think the reason why is that I don't think it was really that common knowledge compared to. I think the cancel culture, that's where it does work, because it gets a lot of knowledge out there. Because the non-stuff of 6ix9ine happened before he blew up, it's very easy to sweep it under the rug. And if you're signed to a major, they can do that dirty work for you and sweep it up. Whereas, like, if it happened once he was big, then it's like, well, that's constantly over him. And now he's really got, the issue is the thing that's done more damage to his career is the fact he snitched. And now, like, his latest album really fucking flopped. Like, it flopped big time. Thankfully, but yeah, no, it's a very weird one, cancel culture. And yeah, like I said to you two, I actually want to go on a little bit of a rant of cancel culture and censorship in particular, just because I always talk about it and I want it on wax, so to speak, that like people can hear it rather than me have to repeat it to everyone. Because I do.
Every time he gets asked about it, he's going to play it.
I should be like, literally just go listen to the podcast,
man. 10, 39 seconds.
Yeah.
Episode 6 of
just go listen to it
if you want my answer on this.
Yeah.
This is his view for all of time as well. It's not going to change.
This will never ever change, right? So obviously, I'm going to go through my points, and then obviously I'll ask you two what you think about it. So yeah, cancel culture and censorship. It basically goes down two main roads of what happens, especially with censorship, rather than cancel culture to me, right? Cancel culture to me, when someone says something, does something that you disagree with, and then you decide to cancel them. The equivalent to that is when you're in school and your mate pisses you off and you go, nah, I'm not listening. Yeah, that's basically what it is. If there's someone, obviously, if someone's nonsense, someone like that's different. But like if someone just says something wrong, what you need to do is essentially challenge them. So when you try to censor someone, what it does is it'll create these little outliers and packets of hate, and basically they can't be challenged anymore because they're censored. So no one hears what they're saying. So what happens is they go off and they say, fuck these guys, look at them. And they're spreading their hate and they've got their little own circle, and that hate builds. Whereas if you were to originally challenge the hate or challenge what they're saying at the root of the source, rather than saying, right, you can't say that anymore, you're gone, bye-bye, rather than someone actually educating them on why they're wrong, that would actually eliminate the problem altogether. So when people do something wrong and they don't ever learn from it, they just get cancelled or censored or whatever, it's a real problem. And like, again, I was watching the JRE podcast of, I can't remember who the fuck was on it, but they were talking about the same thing, about how basically if you just don't challenge like bad ideals on either side, like political opinions always need opposition and scrutiny. That's just the way it has to be. So you can't ever like, I understand like hate speech and racism, whatever. You don't get rid of racism by pushing it out. You do it by education and enlightenment, basically, and like making people realize why they're wrong. So
okay. I'm going to jump in there. Is it all right if I jump in there?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's easy for people to say, "Oh, you got to challenge it. You got to challenge it all the time."
Yeah.
Because I think we can get away with not being offended by too much, like straight white males.
Yeah.
Shiv, whatever,
Yeah.
maybe a bit more with you. You can get offended by stuff.
Yeah.
You can be racially abused, basically. But with us, like, it's be easy to say, "Oh yeah, just challenge it. But if somebody is a minority, always having to challenge stuff can be so super draining. Affect people's mental health.
Yeah.
And it does, like, you don't. I'm sure people don't want to deal with it all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's what we've read.
Yeah, it's the having to repeat yourself over and over. Like, like, you know how, like, you just said, "Oh, well, like, I'm just gonna say it out here so that everyone knows my opinion on it," rather than have to, like, re-educate people every time it crops up.
Yeah.
Just like it does drain you. Going back to what Luke said, really.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously the only counter to that is increased education and school systems and stuff, and basically stamp it out while they're young. That's the only way.
Yeah.
So, but like, what I mean by that is, like, obviously, like, I don't, like, it's obviously, like, I can understand it on an individual level, like people saying it, but like, it obviously censorship is a tricky one. Like, publicly, I think it's a very tricky one. But for me, I think you have to challenge it. You can't just outcast it out because, like I said, it would just breed more hatred when outcast. More hate.
It's people in those spaces that feel safe in those spaces.
Yeah,
it's their job to challenge it.
Yeah,
it's not the person who's being offended by it.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not just the people who's offended. I'm saying it's everyone's job to challenge and educate each other on why that's wrong. So it's
very difficult to, like, get your point across to someone when you're on the opposing side, because it seems like it's coming from a place of anger rather than just a place of, like, being informative.
Yeah.
So, like, if me and you disagreed on something, like, and I really didn't like what you had to say, but Luke was in your corner on this scenario and, like, understood where I was coming from, you would take on his words far more easily than you would take my words on. And that's the way it needs to happen. Otherwise, it just does lead to more anger and more hate.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, that is the trick of it is basically. So when you see on Twitter, like, you say, like, I don't know, like, fucking someone is over party because they said some tricky shit, and it's, well, that's important to some extent to expose people for, because the difference is that when I say I don't want censorship, it's not lack of consequence. Yeah, you have to have consequences to have bad opinions. There should always be a consequence to it. It's just you can't stop someone from saying it, because then they can never be challenged because they never are able to out their view on it. Do you know what I mean? It's a very it's a difficult line, because then because once they say it, that can offend someone. But if they say it, I don't know. It's very tricky. It's a very difficult one. If you're looking at a very, like, umbrella, I don't know, it can be tough. But
I suppose it's very difficult to, like, it doesn't give them an opportunity if they've done it, like, or said something that can be offensive without the proper understanding of the meaning of what they've said.
Yeah,
because they may be very willing to change, which leads me on to my next question for you is, like, for you guys, is where do you stand if someone keeps repeatedly offending with offensive stuff? Like, do you then just cancel them, or do you continue to try and educate them? Because surely if they're,
I think genuinely
offending,
the answer to this is just kick the fuck out of them. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
okay.
So like,
what are we saying is cancel, though? What are we saying?
Because the thing is,
describe cancel them.
All right, okay. So, like, they repeatedly come out with homophobic slurs and, like,
I get
attacks, etc., like, stuff like that.
Describe the act of cancelling.
Okay, so I'm saying, like, initially they've done it 2 times. You've tried to explain to them and educate them on why this is offensive and so forth. And it comes to a 3rd time, and you're like, you know what, that's enough. Enough is enough, and just, like, just cut them off from, like, whatever platform they have, so that they can't keep sparking up interest about their name. Like, just take away the source of their power.
So
I've got no problem with that.
Basically, what Katie Hopkins did.
That's the best way to do it.
I think if you give someone fair warning and you've tried educating them, that's okay. Because but for me, it's just when people initially say it and like someone could even say something as a mistake because they're not informed, like you said, and then they just get cancelled and they never find out really what was wrong with them, and then they think, well, fuck all those people who just try to take away my platform because I said this one thing. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. They're all getting offended. I'll just go and, do you know what I mean? People will just build on anger and hatred off of it. Like I think the key is to try and educate, and if not, then there is a consequence of that, which is just fuck up their lives, because at that point they're assholes. You know what I mean? So
often there is no consequences though, and I think that maybe empowers is the wrong word, but it strengthens people's resolve in cancelling somebody and going all out to cancel and not take any like mitigating circumstances. So because
I'll give
you see hate all the time, and then somebody says, "Oh, this guy only did it once." Like it all blends into one.
I'll give you a prime example of why I'm really saying this as a whole. Is Katie Hopkins was allowed to go on Twitter for ages and whatever, and then Wiley said one thing, misinformed, and got booted off every single social media. And he's even, you know what I mean, he said now that I was misinformed in what I said, but people don't know that he's now changed, or he basically can't have his platform back because he made one misinformed comment and was never educated on it, and he just got booted off everything. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, what he said was wrong, don't get me wrong, but if someone's educated and they understand that it is now wrong, I mean, I don't understand where what you achieve by booting him off everything. You know what I mean? So he can't.
Well, like you said, it only leads to more anger. Like they've been willing to learn and they've taken the time to learn, and then boom, what are they treated with? Oh, just like cancelled. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like they've got no platform to even apologise for what they've said.
Yeah.
They've got no way of clarifying that they've made an error and they've amended their ways. Like that's.
Yeah.
Albeit like they've said something bad, but they're willing to own up to their mistake, and that's very important. Like being able to own up to it and accept that you've made some mistakes, and then voice it so that you're effectively educating your audience, your platform. You're using that platform to educate others on why what you said is bad. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that followed Wiley, and when he said that stuff, would have been like, oh, well, if Wiley says it, like, yeah, do you know what? That's
fine, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's backing up what I think as well,
yeah.
Maybe.
But like him coming out and saying that to a huge group of people, to a huge following, especially in the grime industry, like him being able to reach so many people, being the godfather and all that, like it changes a lot of people's perspective, and that's quite important. So not having the ability to reach out to those people afterwards can be quite negatively impacting the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Twitter, both of them handled it horribly. But Twitter handled it equally as bad. Well, not as bad as Wiley did, but pretty poorly, because they let, like, unintentionally, loads of hate speech happens on Twitter every day.
Yeah.
But because Wiley is Wiley, it was one shot and done.
Yeah. So this is the thing.
Also, sorry, carry on, Mike.
I was gonna say, this is the thing, right? This is why I'm saying that. Obviously, like I said, this isn't me saying no censorship isn't saying there's no consequence to your actions. There's always, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, which is a consequence of you being an asshole and having to be educated on it. It's the same thing that you talk about prisons. Is it punishment or is it rehabilitation? Like, which one is it? Like, do you actually try and change the offender, or do you just try and punish them? Like, it's this whole thing of. Basically, what I think is you need to try and change people originally when they say some fucked up shit and educate them, rather than just outcast them and send them to the shadow realm. Shout out Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that's a wild thing about social media, because it turns into, like, should it allow people to rehabilitate themselves, or should it protect minorities who just want to go about their day using the platform?
Yeah, and
like,
I think
I don't think it's their job to allow somebody that's like offended loads of people to like, oh, you can have a second chance. Like, it's not really their job.
It's a very difficult one. It's a very difficult
it like, as much as it is the same as like the example you gave about prisons, whether or not it's a punishment or rehabilitation, there's so many different aspects to it as it's social media.
Yeah.
Like it's not like physically committing any atrocities like on people, or like making any bad decisions. Like you can just type some mean words, and like people are more inclined to just get over that rather than you like punching someone in the face. Like there's more repercussions to that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very hard to be like, oh, well, how did you go about it? Because there's no set way. There's no like guidebook or like rule book as to how Twitter should be used and like what people should have done to them, or like how they should be punished if they make a nasty comment. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one with social media, because obviously they do have their rules of service, terms of service. But again, like Luke said, there's hate speech that goes on every single day on that app, and people don't get taken off. So
if you've not got the platform and it doesn't reach the people that the famous people reach, it's always harder to detect the hate, isn't it? Like you could have old Alan, 40, loves football, loves birds, and is completely British. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he could say something completely racist on Twitter, but his 4 followers aren't going to like kick up a fuss. Do you know what I mean?
They're probably likely to agree with him because they probably know him personally.
Whereas like an influencer with 30,000 followers saying something with a slip of the tongue is going to reach far more people and cause far more havoc. So like it's very hard to detect.
Yeah, and having that big audience, you should be aware of what your words can do.
So
100%.
And also the other thing I want to do as well is, when I say a lot of things about cancel culture and censorship, I don't want to put it explicitly on hate speech, because hate speech is a very tough one to talk about with that. I'm talking about people with just opposing opinions to you generally, like like obviously hate speech,
like politics, something.
Yeah, political things where like when like I know it's not like it can be defined as racist, but people saying like obviously like, you know, wanting borders closed and whatever to stop lack of immigration, they may not be a racist person, but they may just be ignorant and need to be educated on that. Do you know what I mean? So it may just be that they genuinely feel like you know, the NHS has got a massive toll and whatever. They might not actually be racist, but people will out them as racist and then cancel them rather than educating them and challenging them on that. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, if someone comes out and says the M word, or you know, like the F word on Twitter, that's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah, it's completely different.
A whole different ballpark.
Like,
But too often on Twitter, it's too easy to just go, "You're this, you fit into this box. I don't like you because you have a very, very different opinion to what I do. So, you might not be openly offending anyone, but I disagree with you this much that I can call you this name, and it's going to end the conversation. Nobody's going to learn anything, and nothing. No growth
to a certain extent, and this is like a really basic, like baby down version, but it's effectively cancelling your mate for effectively just supporting a different football team to you.
Yeah,
that's what's happening.
This is what I'm saying.
Like, it makes no sense. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion and do their own thing. So why are we cancelling people just for their opinions? Like,
so if
it's not overtly offensive, where is the issue?
So this is what I was originally trying to say, but obviously as soon as you talk about cancelling it gets drawn to hate speech. But this is what my initial point is on, where you talk about you need to challenge these things and have opposition on any sort of political ideal. And like I said, if, like with people nowadays with Tories, what they do is they just go Tory scum and just stick their fingers in their ears, and they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to an opposing opinion, not realizing that they might have some facts that are correct and some are wrong, and you might have some facts that are correct and what are wrong. And that leads me into my second point, really, which is who decides what gets censored. Because we might have really political, progressive and left-wing ideas, and they might have some more conservative ideas, but who's to say who's right and wrong? Because each side think they're right. And what you would need then is just a blanket ban on political and ideological tweets and things like that, because no one could be technically right, because everyone's got their own opinions and beliefs. Otherwise, it's just going to lead to a dictatorship of one ideal. It's all going to be everyone who's progressive gets their voice, and anyone who isn't progressive and is more conservative or whatever doesn't get a voice anymore. And then that's really fucking dangerous, like really dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult place to say who's in the right and who's in the wrong here. Do you know what I mean? So when we say,
that's the thing, like leftists think, oh, like people are right wing are just ignorant. They don't have care for people, and like they care about money. But then people on the right think that leftists are just like weak, floppy people that don't have a backbone, and like none of it is helpful.
No,
like none of it is helpful. Use your different ideals to congregate together and converge on ideals that would be beneficial for both sides to become more stable and to have a friendlier environment for everyone. Pick up the points that you think are really key, and then pick up the points that they think are really key, and explain why these are issues that you're having, and just try and resolve it that way rather than just hurling abuse at each other. You know, like.
Yeah.
No one gets to say who's right and no one gets to say who's wrong. That's not how it works. It's just opinions.
Yeah.
Opinions are completely subjective. There is no objectivity with it.
Yeah.
You can't call someone out and be like, fuck it, you're wrong, just because you have an opposing view. That's not how it works.
I mean, to throw it way back, it's just what happened in the church back in the day. Like with the church in Europe, basically anyone who didn't believe in Christ or whatever was a heretic, an outcast, and you know what I mean, it led to a real dictatorship of one belief. So you know, it's like I said, it's dangerous. Like, it's important that there are always consequences to people's actions, though, good or bad. You know, if someone does some good shit and does some good shit, they get rewarded, and if they do some bad shit, they get punished. But like, I think the difficult one is with the Tories nowadays is people are so quick to just go, you're Tory scum, and it's really quick to write rather than you can't. And you think that that's going to get the retweets or the likes or whatever, rather than saying, you know, tackling at the root of the problem, especially with like things like feeding the kids. And they're like, we haven't got the money to do it. And people just go, rather than going, scum, explain why they're wrong. You know what I mean? Just challenge.
Try and explain to them why, even though it's their parents' fault, the kids shouldn't have to suffer. You know, like that's not the kid's fault. Let's try and open people's eyes to see the kid's not chosen to be in the situation. They just so happen to be in that situation. Let's do something about that situation.
It's not even the parents' fault at this point.
No,
pandemic, isn't it? Pandemic.
I mean, as well, and the thing is what a lot of these Tories and whatever, a lot of MPs generally live sheltered lives and are very thankful. So the easiest way to do it is literally just go take them to the ends and just say, look, this is what's going on here, rather than calling them scum or whatever. Give them a look look at life on the other side. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's very hard when people have lived both sides or live a certain way. It's very hard to see how someone else could live another way.
It's kind of the image they have, though, man. Like when you see them on old news, isn't it? It's like, I think Matt Hancock spoke at the start of the lockdown and said, why, when he got asked about why he doesn't have that much diversity in the cabinet, he said, we've got diversity of thought. And it just like, we don't need to look, we don't need to represent people. We can just make people think we're representing people, basically. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
You need people from all walks of life to provide that diversity. You can't just have a bunch of people that are all the same that have the odd occasional thought and think, oh wow, do you know what? Like that's actually a really diverse thought. Like, oh, people would love that. Like, no, they don't know actual diversity. You're just assuming people would think that's really like helpful, but you're only getting that from your little bubble of people. Rather than having a complete collective of people that provide a far more wider train of thoughts, you know?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but we're just going to have to take a quick break and then we'll be back in a second to finish up this. It's been very insightful. So, yeah, we'll be back in a second. See you in a bit. So, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, we're back off our break. It wasn't really much of a break. Our Zoom call just ran out as per. But, basically the reason why...
Technical difficulties.
Fucking people trying to call me. My trap phone's belling. But the reason why why I want to have this chat on this podcast as well. It's not only because it's my belief, because I'm the most liberal person to the point where I say, there's a famous quote with liberals that says, "I hate what you have to say, but I'll defend to my death what you're right to say it," pretty much. So that's obviously like I said, with hate speech, it gets a little bit more difficult because it's a bit like, fuck you, you're a cunt. Like, that is just the fact, because you're saying some ignorant shit that hurts people, and as soon as people get offended, it's difficult. But yeah, I wanted to talk about it because obviously, Luke, you have a mixed race background, and Shiv has Indian parents, so obviously it would be wrong for me to talk about things like censorship and stuff like that, especially when it is so closely linked to hate speech in an all-white group, which links back to the last thing we were saying with the cabinet. How are they going to make decisions on people from ethnic diverse and ethnic backgrounds when there's no one in the cabinet with any sort of diversity?
Well, Rishi Sunak is it? Rishi Sunak, Priti Patel. There's no black people. Basically.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
You've just not got the representation of the whole group. Like, it doesn't work. You can't just say you're representing black people but have no black people in the cabinet to really provide ideas that would help the black community. Like, all fine and well thinking you're helping the black community or an Asian community, but without people of that ethnicity or like that background, you're not gonna have the viewpoints and the ideas that truly help them, and it's pointless.
I think what people
it's like thinking you're helpful without being helpful at all.
Yeah. But I think it's important as well. A lot of people forget that diversity is so much more than race as well. Diversity includes all, people with disabilities, people who come from fuck all, have no money whatsoever, and but the problem is with politics nowadays. It's even like, obviously people focusing on race because race is the glaring factor, because you just see all white people, but how many of them actually come from fuck all? Do you know what I mean? How many of them are? It's very elitist politics. Privately educated and go through top universities, and it's very cliquey. So
it's very rare you find even a Labour politician that didn't go to a private school, go to a red brick uni. Even though they're representing people of the left, like, they weren't necessarily brought up in a left family, and fair play to them for wanting to represent these people, and take your hats off to them, because they're doing something a lot of people that have gone through these schools won't do.
Yeah.
But they're still not quite engaging with their audience fully, because they can't fully understand the upbringing of some of these people, etc. So even though they are trying their hardest, they just don't have the background for it sometimes, and that can be quite difficult.
The percentages, I think they put the percentages up after every election. Right. And they're always trash. They're always, I would like to look it up, to be honest, but it's always heavily weighted to Oxbridge, heavily weighted to Eton, certain backgrounds. It's just not representative of our country.
Yeah, no, it's really.
You just got big hands, Mike, haven't you, mate?
Yeah,
big hands. Yeah,
you've got big hands. It's mad because this is actually a normal size Pepsi bottle, but I just got really small hands. You see.
Shiv's been waiting to do that, by the way. Shiv's been waiting.
Mate, I've actually been waiting so long to drop that in,
because it's a serious topic.
The conversation to lighten up a little bit, and I was trying to find the point to break it in. That was perfect timing.
It's from serious. That we just did. I mean, the most serious half an hour of this podcast.
It's
what you get when you get a real man.
The real man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very important to have. You know what I mean? I got a lot of friends that will listen to this from Exeter. And Exeter is the most fucking leastly diverse. It's barely diverse, and I know a lot of people that, for example, will hear. So here's the one thing I do agree on censorship here is in songs. So for example, Fairy Tale in New York, to censor that one word, because that isn't an opinion, that's just someone saying a word. Do you know what I mean? So people, and there's a lot of people I know that think it's going too far just to censor the one offensive word, and it's like, people need to.
When you do it like, especially on the radio, all they're doing is removing an offensive word. Like,
you do it if someone said fuck.
If
you know
you
what I mean?
If you said the word arse on the radio, that gets bleeped out. Like, you can play WAP on the radio and it gets censored to fuck. It basically isn't a song anymore. But one word to censor this one word is too much of a problem.
It's literally ruins people's Christmas, man. At this point, they're just throwing the toys out the pram. Like, it's not Christmas. Can't say that word.
You know what it is? Though? People won't know the whole word to the song, and then they go, "You scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy," and they like full on go for it. And it's like the reason why you're so pissed is because you don't have that one time a year where you have an excuse to be homophobic.
Freedom to just be openly homophobic. And that's all it is.
The same people, if you start playing Mad City by Kendrick Lamar in front of them, and it's like, man down, where you from? And it's they're the ones who really put the emphasis on the M word, and you know they really love that Kanye and Jay song. You know what I mean? It's those kinds of people that get offended by it, but they need to wake up and understand other standpoints. So when we talk about censorship here, we're not talking about in music
call them
and stuff.
Ignorant. Yeah, that's game over, mate. That's a step too far. If you ever get to a point of calling them ignorant, no.
This is enlightenment for them. No, they are ignorant, but they need enlightenment. They don't need punishment. They need enlightenment. This is the thing.
Exactly. Rehabilitation, not punishment.
I'm not gonna cut them off because they're those opinions. I'm going to try and change them first, and then I'm going to cut them off that don't change. But that was a very deep and important conversation for everyone to have, and everyone needs to have them in their friendship group. So hopefully, if you see us doing it, you can start. And someone says, "Oh, did you hear about if you're watching this and go, oh, did you hear about the point they spoke about on the podcast? What do you think about it?" And then you start having your own conversations in your own groups about it. And hopefully it just, that's the only way to stop hate is to educate, really. That's the only way.
Yeah.
It's a good starting point. It gives people somewhere to start at least. Like you've got to be able to have that conversation with your pals. Otherwise we don't progress.
And you see how easy it is. Obviously, if either of you were like, actually, I completely disagree and I want to say hate speech all I want, then obviously that would be a different conversation, a really different conversation. But
it'd be very difficult to be pals, wouldn't it? Like,
it'd be an interesting podcast.
Do I still want to be your friend?
Yeah,
because I don't know if I like that.
But I don't know.
I feel like it's a really tough conversation to have.
It is,
especially on this when you're kind of conscious about not misstepping and accidentally offending somebody. Where what I'm trying to put out is as least offensive as possible, but trying to articulate myself. This links back to the point is that none of us here have at some point in our lives, I'm sure we've done something that would have got cancelled, but right now we're in a place where we aren't being, nothing we said right there was offensive. But some people might take it and they'll try and cancel it. Do you know what I mean? Or someone takes it in a certain way and they try and cancel us or do whatever, rather than re-educate us and say, "Yo, just watch how you say that." Do you know what I mean? That's
that's true.
So
when you look at it that way, like I would much rather someone come to me and say, "Look, I heard what you're saying. You may not know, but what you said was offensive to me or to people that I associate with.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it if you could word things differently, or like we can have a talk about it rather than just being off the bat. Yeah. Fuck you, man. You're a piece of shit. Can't believe you said that.
Exactly.
Fuck you."
And the same way we've got to be, I take your opinion on board. I'm not going to shout back at you.
Yeah, as I suppose that's a good point. Like, as much as you want to just be like, "Nah, fucking hell, you're so wrong."
Yeah,
you have to be willing to take that on board and be like, "Okay, I see your viewpoint.
Yeah,
I challenge you this, or I want to make you think about what you have to say, not necessarily because you're wrong, but I'd like to see if you'd be willing to change your viewpoint on certain matters," and that's important too.
Yeah, and
agrees.
Yeah, it's just that's the thing is that with the world being so opinionated, it can be very difficult at times. You that's why things like football are so great, because you just find a common ground. You know what I mean? Like it's like as soon as you start talking on certain things, you just start. Everyone's got their own opinion, and it's so quick and easy to fall out because people don't want to talk. Because feelings and emotions are a thing, so people get so overly invested in stuff, like rightfully so. But then you start having a conversation and starts becoming a slagging match. You know what I mean? So yeah, just have a conversation.
We did that all right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think we said anything offensive, and
no, I think we did very well.
Yeah, I mean, unless you are
RIP our podcast careers if we didn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, unless you are a really ignorant person who has never whose people constantly try to educate, and you still don't change, we wouldn't have offended anyone there. Like that's the only people who would have offended.
Hit us up if you think we're ignorant.
Yeah, you know what? I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
If you have an opposing opinion to us and you think that it's cool and you want to defend your right to say the F word in the fairy tales of New York, hit us up because we'll have you on the podcast and we'll debate it. I don't
call us on the hotline 077 1893 244 Bring up on the radio show.
Like the start of my phone number, bro. Like...
But no matter, we'll do it anonymously. You can hide your name, take off your camera. I swear to God, if you want to come on and debate it, you can. So hit us up. But yeah, like you'll lose, but you know, trust me, you'll lose. You're debating me, bro. I don't. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Trust me. So yeah. Right. So
where we go now?
What we want to talk about is some of the more bigger news that we can actually talk about and not have to worry about it being offensive. Roman Grosjean.
His hands.
Sorry. Yeah, we do that now.
Yeah,
quickly. I want to talk about the boxing though. I want to talk about
Daniel Dubois
boxing. And
Mike Tyson.
We can talk about Daniel Dubois a bit, but Tyson and Nick Robinson as well. But
let's just talk about sports let's talk about sports over the weekend. You know,
can we avoid the Arsenal game? I'm not ready.
No, I'm not in the mood to talk about Arsenal anymore.
It's hard to still be a fan sometimes.
Before we started this podcast, I was watching the Fulham Leicester game, and Leicester were getting duppied. So. I don't know what score is now. Finished 2-1.
2-1 full time.
On my fantasy team as well, mate.
That's such an.
I feel like a rat mug, like a proper tit.
I think I've given up on fantasy this year, man. It's too stressful. I just want to watch football without like worrying whether or not someone's keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. In all honesty, but I need to stop betting as well. That's another thing. Grosjean.
Gamble away.
For anyone who hasn't seen what happened to Grosjean over the weekend, what essentially happened was he in the Bahrain Grand Prix, it looked like he tried to avoid some debris and people kind of merging back onto the track, veered across and basically lost control after hitting another car and went through a metal barrier. Now, and his car immediately caught a light and basically exploded. And he was somehow amazingly, he walked out alive with just a few broken ribs.
Mad that he was conscious. Mad that he was conscious.
He was out of there in like less than 30 seconds, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the car was up in flames and he got out within 20 seconds.
Shout at him as well, doing that with broken ribs, saying, fuck this, I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like...
I feel like the adrenaline's got to kick in at some point. Like your fight or flight is just like, I guess if I don't move here,
I'm still dead. It's really like, fuck it, I can't be time to go. But,
it's actually do you know what you have to shout out the FIA, like the Halo saved his life. Saved his life. You don't go through a metal barrier and survive it without
in like a normal car.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, he'd be dead. 4 or 5 years ago, he would have got decapitated. So
his car has literally split in half at the back of where he sits.
Yeah. So you see the back of his car, and you can see the back of his seat.
Yeah.
So he is sat in the car, like basically just holding onto the steering wheel with nothing behind it.
Yeah.
So he had to get the steering wheel out quick so he can get his legs out and get the fuck out. It's a weird one. But yeah, like obviously, rest in peace, Jules Bianchi, who died under pretty much the same circumstances, where he crashed into a lorry, a tractor, or whatever it was, that was moving a car from the track, and that ended up there was no halo, so that obviously has saved Grosjean's life. And the weirdest thing about it happening to Grosjean as such is he's the head of the drivers' union or whatever it is there, like how like they always have like a thing. He's the head, and he was obviously campaigning for a long time for more driver safety and things like the halo. So
He was against it, mate.
But
he said
was he against it?
Yeah, he was against
on his,
it. But
if you look at his video that he put up on Instagram or Twitter or wherever it was yesterday, he said a couple of years ago, I was really unsure about the Halo. And you know what? Like now, I think it's fair to say that like it's the best thing to have been put into place, and like we can't argue. The argument over the Halo is done now. It has to be, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's a struggle to argue that it should be open wheel anyway. You know what I mean? Things that are open wheel, that's fucking dangerous.
So much more dangerous. Yeah. Right, so, I mean, Charles Leclerc 2 years ago at Alfa Romeo, when I can't remember whose car it was that went flying over.
Grosjean's. I think it was
Grosjean's car.
That was Spa. That was he flipped over Fernando Alonso.
Oh, is that?
I've been watching bare F1 season reviews.
But either way, without that Halo, a car would have completely smashed it.
No, there was no Halo in that. It was literally just luck. Because that's 2012.
Oh wait, are we on about the Grosjean?
No. I'm talking.
Was there another
Charles
one
Leclerc. There was a one with Charles Leclerc 2 years ago. And
I think that's Fernando Alonso going over him.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Fernando Alonso that basically scraped the top of Charles Leclerc's Halo. And if he hadn't had that there, it's a full F1 car hitting him on the schnoz. And I beg to believe I just doubt he's going to survive that. You know, a car hitting you in the head at like a solid 100 miles an hour is not going to be good.
Yeah.
It might be worse than a little concussion, you know?
Yeah. The big takeaway is that we just got to be thankful that the safety's got better. Like, they've got such good fire retardant clothing now.
Yeah, to think that he came away with just slight burns on his fingers and ankle, where he's like literally at his most vulnerable in that suit.
Yeah, there's so much. There's like if you think about it, I think how long is it 125 years of F1 something now?
Yeah.
For the last probably only like the last 5 years, you've only got a chance of surviving stuff like that happening.
Yeah.
That's such a small percentage of the time of F1.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many other people that have gone through similar things and just been wiped out.
I mean,
it's like the year before Senna passed away. He pulled someone out of a car that was unconscious on fire, and like these things, like he would have been dead if it weren't for like the heroics of Senna. Like the safety today versus the safety then is just outrageous.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's a weird one as well, because obviously with the car improving and speeds and everyone's going faster and stuff, it obviously gets more dangerous, which is why you need the safety. Like if you look back at like fucking when it was like Fangio racing, like way back in like the 40s and 30s or whatever, they were literally just like driving those old school like racer cars that you would see in like fucking, do you remember Wacky Racers, whatever it was called? Yeah, like those old school race cars. Like that's what they were driving, and now they're driving so fast that it's ridiculous. So, it's
they
weird.
used to not have seatbelts because if they crashed, they would want to be flung from the car instead of the car just exploded.
Yeah.
To me, that seems wild.
It's wild. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's imagine wanting to go into a barrier and fly 40 feet.
In my humble opinion, that is fucking crazy.
That's just like...
I would rather be flung out of this car than take the impact and have to stay in this car.
I mean, but it depends if the car explodes, you know what I mean? Like, because they can't get out of the car really if it explodes, so they'd rather go out of the
just get ragdolled out of it.
And take their chances of like a severed back or something like that. But fucking crazy what went on in Bahrain. Lewis Hamilton wins again. The goat. Anyone who says that Schumacher's the GOAT is wrong.
I still love to and would love to argue it, because like I'm just a massive Shuey fan and I have been since I started watching F1.
I hate him.
Like Okay,
Why,
fine,
mate?
right, okay. Unnecessary hatred.
Another one.
No, it's not. It's not, man. Like it's like when he was teammates with Barry Kello and who was the other boy?
Papa Ruben.
Was it Irvine? Eddie Irvine he was with as well.
I think it was Eddie Irvine.
Yeah, and like he basically make his second drivers their bitches, his bitch, and basically like although I think it was Eddie Irvine was saying about one time when they needed a piss before the race or before quali, and basically Schumacher what he did is he just stayed in the garage toilets for as long as he physically could, came out right at the last second so they couldn't go. So if they had to go for a piss, they would miss the quali.
That's absolute shithousery, and
I love at the same time, go and use another toilet.
Yeah,
surely there's another toilet.
There's got to be more toilets than one in the paddock.
Ask a steward. Grow up, Eddie Irvine.
Yeah. I mean, but like as well, like
that is ultimate sport shithousery.
Here's something you would never ever see Lewis do, and this is why Lewis is the GOAT over Schumacher. I think it was Austria in like 2001 or 2000 or 2002, whenever it was. Barrichello was leading by a hefty margin. Going into like the final sector, he slows the fuck down to let Schumacher overtake him on the final corner, and they're met by a fucking giant crowd of boos.
Yeah, but can I just reiterate? He did that to allow Shui to win the championship because it was like neck and neck. However, Schumacher returned that favour to Barrichello not much later because Barrichello had he had some sort of issue and was leading the race the whole race, and then Schumacher allowed him through to win the race. Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's
it's kind of like it comes and goes. You know, like you can say like that's if he.
Did he do that something that when he came back? Did he do that as well? When when Rosberg was winning, he just let Rosberg through. And let him have win on the way to the championship.
I mean, there's team orders and then there's that. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if
completely. Like, at the end of the day, it's a team sport, but it has such an individual aspect to it. So it's not great because you're still competing against your teammate. But like, if it comes down to Schumacher winning the championship when Barrichello is nowhere near it, like that's understandable.
But I think that's good. I don't know because like with him returning the favour, it's meaningless when he's already won the championship. You know what I mean? So
it's true. It's true. But you've got to play what's in front of you. They were able to do that in his era. So
but the other thing as well is they say that like he's like, oh well, Lewis has always had the most dominant car. Well, he hasn't. He hasn't at all.
It's hard to argue.
Seasons he's won, I think he might have done. Maybe
know.
Not 2017, where Ferrari were pretty good.
But even when he was at McLaren, when he joined that McLaren team, he was not in a bad car. He was not in a bad car.
It was always fast. It just had like real bad reliabilities.
Just remember,
look at Red Bull.
Schumacher did it at an unknown Benetton. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The 2 years at Benetton are Schumacher's legacy. I think the five at Ferrari, they were by far and away the best car on the track.
It's like the equivalent of Lewis being in that track now.
But the issue is on that is that Schumacher was racing against nobody on those five. At least Lewis is racing his teammates. Like he dropped one to to Nico Rosberg. If that was Schumacher, that wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? So
it's different sport. It's just a different sport.
Yeah,
you can't compare.
I mean, it's V8s versus V6s or whatever it is, isn't it? So, is it V8?
My man Shuey still did it though. Monaco 2012 pole position. You're done.
Yeah, hard.
Comeback.
He got a grid penalty, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 5 players grid penalty. Biggest F in the chat.
I mean, I hate him, but I will say he is probably the third best driver of all time.
Lewis
and Senna, but I think Senna was the best driver ever, but he wasn't the greatest. I think people get this.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
Greatness is great. Yeah, greatness is different to ability and how good you are. Being the best, you can be the best, but not the greatest. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
Dani Alves is technically one of the greatest football players of all time because he's won the most, but.
But he's not the best footballer of all time.
Yeah. You wouldn't say he's the best, would you? So go off F1. We will move into the boxing.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't lose. We've gone. You've mentioned JRE. Now we've just done 10 minutes on F1. If anybody makes it past this here, shout out you, man.
Yeah,
shout out you.
Real fans.
Pick up yourself. Thank you.
I mean, they might just like F1. You know what I mean? So
yeah, maybe.
It's an enthralling sport, and if you love it, good
get
for
into
you.
it.
Good for
shout
you.
out Kate McMurran, who's been turned around into the world of F1.
I think once you learn how to drive, it gets so much better. Like once you have a concept of driving your own car, when you watch F1, you're like, I wish I could do this, and it's almost like I wanted, like you learn to see how fucking cool it is.
As a man who doesn't drive, I can say it's still just amazing.
But you still want to go and do it, don't you? You want to hop in a car and do it.
I just want to. Do you know what? I don't know. I'm scared of doing it in real life. Get me a simulator. Get me a goddamn simulator, and I would be all over it.
I think I'd love it. I think I'm scared of so many things, but I'm not scared of speed. So one thing I'm not scared of.
That's actually quite good.
No.
That's all right.
It's a good thing you're not scared when I'm running at you, mate. Speed of light. They call me Usain on the track.
Usain Jala.
Usain beat holla at me. Right. So yeah, boxing. Just chatting shit there. Boxing. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Old men having a scrap. I haven't actually watched the fight.
Yes.
I haven't watched
it.
I didn't watch it because as soon as I got told there was no knockout, I was
what's the point in this? It's just
Have you seen the Twitter stuff on it?
I've seen all the Snoop stuff, and he's like, "This is like two of my uncles having a barbecue, having a fight at a barbecue." Bro, Snoop is so funny, and the fucking
he needs to be a commentator.
I saw it. The result was a tie, was it not?
Yeah,
but Tyson beat him up for eight rounds of it. Yeah.
I saw the post-match interview, and Mike was like, "Yeah, I'm happy with the result. I mean, it is what it is, but like, I'm happy because I got to entertain all these people." And I'm like, "That's nice. Like, that's a good gesture."
Yeah. Roy Jones Jr. was the only person who'd take the fight, I think. So it's cool that it happened, but it wasn't anywhere. It wasn't really like anything special.
Nah.
See,
I mean,
what was really special was Jake Paul knocking out Nate Robinson.
Bro, right. So
someone tell me who Nate Robinson is.
Nate Robinson is like a cult figure in basketball because he's basically the shortest person, but he won the dunk contest
twice.
He blocked Shaq a bunch of times. Yeah. Blocked Shaq a bunch of times. Like, he just got mad hops. People liked him, but he had no defense, so he's kind of retired. Did he go to China or something? Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, I think so.
So why is he out here fighting Jake Paul?
No one knows.
Get this money. He's trying to get this bread.
Probably the bread, yeah.
And
Jake Paul, becoming a meme.
I guess he's.
So here's the thing.
He's been training.
I mean, I don't know who sanctions these fights on a professional level. Is it WBC or something like that? Who the fuck sanctioned this? Like, Nate Robinson is 5'9" at a push. At a push, he's 5'9". 5'9" in shoes.
He shouldn't even be fighting me.
He is not a cruiserweight. Why the fuck is he fighting 6'1" Jake Paul at cruiserweight? Because he's always going to lose. He is always going to lose. If he didn't, I said to my mates, if he didn't get knocked out, Jake Paul was shit. Jake Paul had to knock him out because Jake Paul wasn't at the point where he's so heavyweight like a Valuev who's so slow that he can get around him. He's quick. So when you put him in there, like if you want a good fight with Jake Paul to see how good he is, put him in with Vidal Riley, another influencer. Obviously, KSI's coach. You knock him the fuck out.
Surely he's like a that guy would kill him.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird one.
Let's not talk about Jake Paul anymore. I'm sad Nate Robinson lost. I love the memes that have come out of it. The memes are some of the greatest memes that have ever happened from the internet. Fuck Jake Paul.
Shout out Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, that's it.
Uncle Snoop.
When he's like, when he's like, Nate's from the hood, he'll get over it.
He starts doing the hymns. He started doing the hymns.
That was class. That was class. It was after the first lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Snoop Dogg gospel. He's got like a gospel album, you know.
Does it?
Did you guys listen to this?
No.
He's got a gospel album.
That's pretty mad. But also, can we just take a minute to thank Snoop for taking time out of his day with Just Eat to go and commentate at the boxing.
Just getting one bag after another at a minute.
He's dripping in sauce currently.
Bro, honestly, that
Buy it, Just Eat.
It's just. Have you seen the video of the crackhead, and he's up north or wherever it is, and he's like, "What kind of music do you guys listen to?" And they're like, "I don't know, maybe hip hop, grime." And he's like, "Did somebody say Just Eat?" He thinks that's hip hop. The Just Eat advert.
That's mad. Shout out Uncle Snoop doing up hip hop in the Just Eat adverts and recreating the genre.
Bro, just shout out Uncle Snoop. Just shout out Uncle Snoop generally.
Like, yeah, just full stop.
And it's the fact that
body killer, absolute gangster, but is just Grandpa Snoop now.
And he's everyone's uncle, and he'll forever be everyone's uncle. So to keep the thing on sport, what do you guys think of Klopp's? Have you seen it? Klopp's post-match interview against Bayern?
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. He's kind of like he takes the L with all the decisions, and he's fine with that. And I'm like, yeah, cool, good for you for just like taking it on the chin and being like, yeah, the decision's a decision. But also, like, stop being a baby, man. Just fucking deal with the fact that you've been given the Wednesdays, the Wednesday and then the 12:30 kickoff. Like,
what difference does it make between kicking off at 12:30 and?
Bro, 4 hours is not going to change the lives of your players.
So here's
it's not dangerous. This is
what I've got to say on it is, first of all, Klopp's doing. You can tell he's been in Liverpool for a while because he's playing the victim. So it's really rubbing off on him. So first of all, yeah, he's playing the victim. So, and what's happened is you got professional athletes in the NBA, right? They play 82 games a season. They play back-to-back games sometimes on road trips, but they play 48 minutes and another 48 minutes. And I'll tell you what, basketball, if you've got a prime basketball player that plays 35, 40 minutes a night, they will be just as tired as someone who's played 90 minutes of football. So for them to do 2 nights in a row is fucking mental. But because it's football and they're so used to having these luxuries of, an extra recovery day, when realistically it makes no difference. They would either just be in training an extra day, do you know what I mean, or something like that. It makes no difference what's going on.
I could play 5-a-side 2 nights in a row. What's the issue?
Mate, literally, I'm sorry, but there's so many people that could play, and they moan about fixture congestion. Yes, but you're earning millions a year. You're a professional athlete. You cannot moan
about rehabilitation as well. Like, you've got all the facilities to make sure that you can play 4 hours earlier than.
I get when people have got to travel massive amounts of distance to get back and play for a game. I really understand that bit, because
even though I referenced the NBA,
trash.
I reference the NBA.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's true.
Big America is. You know what I mean? It's massive.
If you're talking European football, the furthest you're going is like Ukraine or
Turkey. Probably Turkey.
That's
a 3 hour, 4 hour
flight. Maybe you go to Russia.
The time difference.
Maybe if you're going to Russia, you're pushing that.
Yeah, okay, but the time difference is still maybe 1-2 hours tops, right?
Yeah,
like, it's livable. You can have a day to recover, either way, whatever, and still get back on it and play professional football to a standard.
I think football teams have just got to get better at adapting.
Or if you just aren't like okay with that, take the L, put out a weaker side for one of the games, and deal with the fact that you might not be able to play your stronger side. Create more of a level squad in the depth of your squad.
Yeah.
Play your youth team.
And also,
don't just rely on Mo Salah to come on and score goals all the time.
It's not the Premier League's fault. It's not the Premier League's fault that they had a massive injury crisis, which is they had like 9 players out injured, and that's just a freak. They would have a problem with that anyway. That's just a freak.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's playing the victim, and he acts like he's the only one that it happens to. It's not. He's not the only one.
Right, I just had this thought. If it happened to either of our teams, we'd be moaning.
I would.
I'd be moaning.
I'd say get the fuck over it. As an Arsenal fan, I'd say get the fuck over it.
Yeah, you'd be moaning, mate, because you're a Chelsea fan. As an Arsenal fan, we
were going to lose regardless. So
exactly. It's not going to make a difference for you.
Also, the thing is as well, because we play in the Europa League, it's a bit different because we can play our shit team and then play our full strength team on a Saturday or on a Sunday.
Yeah, and this sounds stupid, but like our even the squads that we put out on a Thursday night, they're not like ridiculously weak compared to our full side.
No.
And I think it shows that like we've managed to somehow keep like the quality of the squad okay. Like throughout, we're not. I mean, even though we're getting shagged every Saturday, Sunday, like we're performing well midweek, and like maybe that says something about our first team. Our first team is just a big.
I think it says more about the opposition.
We can live with that.
But then again,
yeah.
I don't know. It's a difficult one. I don't like talking on Arsenal because, bro, maybe we'll do that in the next segment. I'll go on a big rant about Arsenal and yesterday's game and the fact we only had two fucking dribbles. We had two fucking dribbles, and we have a guy who's the top earner at the club now, overtaking Mesut Ozil, that looks so disinterested and is the club captain and has no heart, bro. Ooh, don't get me started. People are so quick to defend Aubameyang because he's a good player, but bro, he doesn't look like he wants to be there now. He looks like he's just got a bag and is ready to go.
He's got the bag.
He really looks like that. I watched his body language.
Without Aubameyang, on a Thursday night, Ozil's wage could pay for your Thursday night team.
Without Aubameyang,
you know what?
No, because Lacazette's in there. And Lacazette's in there.
Okay,
you know what?
Fair enough.
You'd be close though. It would be far off.
It'd be close.
Realistically, you're paying for Joe Willock, Reece Nelson, like contracts.
To be fair, they're probably on silly money.
Bro, did anyone see? Did either of you see Joe Willock's car crash?
No.
Oh mate, he was in his G-Wagon going merging onto the M25, but he was in the wrong lane, so he's like sped across, and he's lost control, and he's full blown lost a wheel on his G-Wagon and crashed it into the side.
Oh.
But that was
Daily Mail got me all over that.
Yeah, that's what. Guess what? That's where I saw it. I saw it.
Crashes on M25 to go sell drugs. The Thunder
dangerous
House.
driver. Punish him at once. I mean, the worrying thing about, before we go on a break, I'll just say the worrying thing about yesterday's game as an Arsenal fan is you saw the lack of heart in the youth players. They look like...
Mate, they don't care. They're there to chase the bag.
But that's what I'm saying. When it's the youth players that have come up through the club that should love the club, when you see like Saka look disinterested, Reece Nelson really was the only one who came on and made a difference. Reece Nelson is a baller. I don't care. Reece Nelson.
We're Banter FC, and like we're gonna... At what point do we just like... Do we go from being like, yeah, we're in a regrowth period to just being worried about the fact that we're playing?
How long have you been in a regrowth? I swear you were in a regrowth with Wenger.
Yeah,
we won't get into it. Right, we'll take a break. We'll take a break so we don't get into it. But yeah,
I'll test it out.
Shut up. No, we need to give him time. Give him time. Give him transfer windows. Give him time. Give him transfer windows. Give him time. Give him transfer windows. Right, we're back. Who knows if this will be our last segment or not? Who knows? Depends how much we find to talk about. But yeah, just to hop back in on Arsenal anyway. I think this is an important thing in all Premier League clubs nowadays is that they're so quick to have such a rotating door of managers that basically they don't give anyone a chance to rebuild. We gave Emery a fair shot at it.
How long did we give him? A year, 2 years?
It's about 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe. We gave him a fair.
Okay, that's a long enough time.
That's too long.
We gave.
It's funny because like
too long.
We're actually doing. We did better under Emery than we are doing under Arteta currently. But I hate to say it.
But here's the thing: is that Arteta has tried to change the entire culture, but the issue is he's got an owner who doesn't want to spend. We got a free transfer in Willian, who's fucking, and we bought Gabriel, who's a baller, and Thomas Partey, who's barely had a chance to play, who's currently out of an injury. So,
what going with William Saliba?
He's not ready to play, but he wasn't Arteta's purchase. He was Emery's. So
yeah, but he's meant to be an absolute baller.
But he's not. You need to watch him in the under 21s. He's not ready. He got overhyped. He got overhyped playing in that Farmers League, and
that's on gang. Arsenal overhyping players that we sign. Yes,
that's on gang.
So
it's almost as if we've turned into United fans.
Yeah, fuck United. You know what?
No.
You know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
We're worse than that. Shit.
No. We're gonna do this. Who has the worst fan base on social media? In football Twitter.
It changes every week, mate. It does change every week.
It's result dependent, really. But
no, I'll tell you who it is.
There's enough fucking. Do you know?
It's United. United are the funniest, but they have the worst. I fucking
yeah.
Because United are the ones that have the notifications on for every single club to tell them about how small they are and how United are great. You go on every single club, and they're the ones who spend their time doing that because they're really sad. They really don't have a life.
When was the last time they won it? They're just not. Yeah,
bro. Do you know what it was for me? It was this weekend, the 1-1 result for Brighton and Liverpool. I saw so many fucking Liverpool fans just shitting on the team, and I'm like, boys, you've just won the Premier League. You won the Champions League.
Oh, they are.
Hop off your players' dicks, please. Bro, you've just drawn 1-1. You've had 2 goals disallowed, or whatever it was. Like, fuck it,
bro. Honestly, they're up there for the worst, but for a different reason. Because as soon as you try to criticize them, they go 6 times. You never walk alone. Just like, yeah, bro, we don't give a fuck, bro. Like,
it's a good card. It's a good card to play.
It's a really great trump card. Out of all the English teams, they're the only ones that can pull it.
Yeah,
Man United have 20 times, 30 times Man United,
and then we have the gold trophy.
Oh really?
The little gold trophy for the unbeatables. Invincibles.
They sold that trophy to pay for Ozil's wages yet?
I don't know, mate. Has your owner actually like manipulated any more people into giving them oil?
Let's not go for the
Is he let back into Russia yet? Is Abramovich let back into Russia yet? Who knows?
I don't know. I don't even want to know. I don't want to speculate. Allegedly.
Yeah, for legal reasons, we have to point out that these are just
allegations. I'm pretty sure Abramovich isn't. I'm pretty sure Abramovich isn't allowed into Russia. I'm pretty sure that's an actual thing.
Right, we're going to have to, again, it's alleged.
No. I'm pretty sure that's factual. I'm pretty sure that's factual.
Okay, well, I don't
bring it on. Bring on the Russian hitman. I don't give a fuck. Bring on the KGB.
I'm dissociating myself with all of this going on right now.
Goodbye. Yes.
Bring on the KGB.
Wait, Mike above me. Mike, if you're above me, I dissociate myself with you right now. Stay away, mind you.
I'm in the top left on my screen, and that'll be the screen on the podcast. So you all look stupid. You all look stupid.
Well, you're top left to me, but I'm trying to work out where you are, where I am.
You're top left for me.
Exactly, but on my podcast is what everyone else is seeing. So you all look dumb.
Yeah, so I want to know where I am on your screen. Mate.
You're at the bottom. You're at the bottom.
Yeah, so right. I was right to be pushing up. Power bottom, baby.
Other way. So if I'm like, I just anyway, problems with filming on Zoom. That's the problem.
Ray that has deflected that Roman Abramovich hate though. That's it. Imagine that. You watch that,
bro. Yeah, but anyway, we need to get back to who has the worst fan base on Twitter. Chelsea fans. Now, Chelsea fans
are just racist.
Chelsea fans are racist, but also they're the ones who really have no life. I think it's like Werner CEO. he had the account for a month and had like 10,000 tweets. I'm pretty sure someone commented on it, and they were like, "What the fuck do you do all day? Do you just sit on Twitter and tweet all day, like 4,000 tweets?"
Is that not his job?
No, because they have Werner CEO is a football Twitter account. It's just like with like 2,000 followers.
Oh.
I don't unless he's getting paid to be on football Twitter, giving people abuse. But the worst guy on all of Twitter, football Twitter, I don't know if you've seen it, is the guy John Smith, the West Ham fan. He's all over. I think he's called John Smith. He's all over it, bro. His pinned tweet is like, if you ratio me, it's not nothing special. But again, the thing that pisses me off more than anything is like Ed plus ratio or whatever it is. It's just like, bro.
If he believes that, he's undefeatable. You can't beat him.
But bro, who cares if you get ratioed? Since when was this a thing?
I don't know why that's me. That's so sad.
Someone explain to me what being ratioed is.
So have you not seen it on Twitter? So basically what they do, someone will tweet something out and they're like, "Don't care, Ed plus ratioed." So when you get ratioed, it's when you get more likes than the person you're replying to.
Right.
So like it's a big thing. It's a big thing now on Twitter.
God, that can't be a thing.
The kids on the block.
Bro, but honestly, the funniest thing though is that it does make me laugh when people try to ratio and they don't get it, and then someone replies with the drop meme, where it's like cold ratio, bro. It's Trump for doing this. It's so funny, man. It's so funny. But yeah, football Twitter.
Football Twitter is beautiful. but it's also a horrible place.
It might be one of the most toxic Twitters about.
I've been told that I'm dangerously close to being in football Twitter, but that's only because
you're trying, man.
I'm not. I just tweet about Arsenal. I just tweet about Arsenal.
Yeah, mate. You live tweet the Arsenal games, and no one needs that.
Nobody wants it, mate.
Who cares what you want?
And I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan, and I love you, Mike, but you're close to joining football Twitter the way you behave on game days.
Scared of it,
bro. It's just because, right? I sit and watch the game alone, and it's because I can't be in a pub or watch it anymore. I need to air my opinion out because I get so angry at it. If we were winning and doing really, really, really well, I'd probably be a lot less. But yesterday, I saw us 2-1 down, and Leno's holding the ball, waiting for Podence to come rush him. So before he picks it up, why are you wasting time, big man? We're 2-1 down.
My games, man.
Goal difference, mate. Goal difference. It's all about goal difference.
We didn't want to lose 3-1.
We didn't want to concede another one, did we? Yeah.
Bro, I feel for Arteta. The people he's got in that team, it's horrific.
The one Chelsea gripe I've got with football Twitter is when people come for Didier Drogba at any given opportunity.
Bro, this is the thing. This is how you know these people are young. They're young and in school. Because if anyone who grew up our age watched Didier Drogba, you know he's cold. He was cold.
Amazing.
He was one of the best strikers in Premier League history. But you get these people that they just basically they didn't grow up watching Drogba, so they just look at his stats and they're like, "Oh, he's overrated because he only scored like 13 goals in the season." But what they didn't know, what they didn't know is those 13 goals are the most important 13 goals that Chelsea got.
Yes.
Right.
Do you want to hear a weird fact? And I saw this really recently. Is that the striker in Arsene Wenger's most used 11? So the combination of 11 players that he, or like the team that he put out the most often. The striker. Have a guess who the striker was.
Nicholas Bentner.
Yeah, Bentner, I reckon, or Shamak or something like that.
Eduardo.
Nicholas Anelka.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Wow.
How rogue is that?
How long?
How rogue is that?
That was.
Anelka
so
was
the team. I'd love to find out.
3 or 4 years, maybe.
I'd love to find that article that I read, but like
depends
it was.
What you
it was an older team.
Yeah, he was
and it was like a team that had been put out the most often, and this team had been used like 12 times.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how long was he there for?
Anelka was the striker of the.
He was in that for 2 years. 2 years when he was when he was like 19. Anelka was a baller, man.
Henry, like they play him as a striker with
left winger.
Left winger, yeah, that's why. If you considered Henry
I mean, he started off at left winger, and then he started back then when Anelka was there. He was a left winger, and then as we started going towards we started playing a 4-4-2. So then he played centrally, we play a 4-4-2, but with basically Bergkamp dropping into the 10, and Henry playing the 9, and then have Perez and Lundberg.
I just wish Anelka did more.
Purple hair, Freddie Lundberg, man. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. FIFA 2003 Lundberg, mate.
You think Van Persie would be up there though with that stat?
I know because it's the same 11 that got put out. So it's like
right.
So it's not like the players that got used the most. It's the same 11 that got used the most.
Probably would have been.
I think you could do that for a lot of clubs. It'd be weird.
But we had that.
Yeah, I suppose it would. But it's still a strange one.
We had that 11 that would have been like back then. It would have been like Seaman, Lauren, Adams, probably Keown, fucking matey boy Lee Dixon, who used to play left back, or maybe Nigel Winterburn, Ray Parler.
When did Ashley Cole come into it? Was that late? Was that early 2000s?
Yeah, I think it might have been really late 90s, early 2000s, because he fucked off in 2006.
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't there.
He left after the heartbreak of the Champions League final, which we won't get into.
Oh, I felt heartbreak, like to not see Henry win that with Arsenal.
With Arsenal was wrong. Wrong. I cried.
Unless he scored the winner, came for Chelsea, scored more goals.
It pains me a lot because we got so hard done by in that game.
The reason we lost, and I will say this over and over, the reason we lost was Lehmann. Fuck that guy. He's also the reason we got to the final because he saved the penalty in the semi-final against Villarreal. But he he got sent off so early. Almunia had to come on, and Almunia was dog shit, bro. He was so
Almunia
bad.
was never good. Like
You can see the both.
good.
You can see the both. You can see the both at the near post in that final, and that was a joke. And we were down to 10 men. Sol Campbell, big up Sol Campbell with his power header. And then, yeah, bro, I remember crying because I was like, Henri kept getting fouled. I was like, they fouled him. He's too good. They fouled him. They can't win. And I was crying in that game, bro. As a fucking, however old I was, 8 years old. 8 years old, older than.
2006, 9 years old.
I was 8. We were 8 because it's May.
Oh, yeah, we'd have been 8 because it would have been like summer.
Yeah, May. So, yeah. So I remember.
It's all right, crying at the foot. I cried when Chelsea John Terry slipped, I cried then. It's all good.
It's right. I know enough Scottish men that have cried over them being Serbia on penalties or so.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that being the pinnacle. I shouldn't say these things. I really rate that Scotland got through. It made me very, very happy.
How rowdy the streets were that night. There's videos of people on their balconies up at the shops on Lothian Road.
Yeah, it's cool.
Going wild. And you love to see it, but also it's mad that it's taken 22 years.
Do you know what the best part? Do you know what the best part about it is? Wait, was that the World Cup or was it the Euros? The Euros they qualified for, wasn't it? It was the Euros. And the best part about it is we're in a group with them. We're in that group.
Yeah, we've got them in June.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game.
At Wembley. And I can't wait to 4-0 them. And that's why I want the tickets. Yeah. Because we are going to 4-0 them.
You know what's really rogue about it, though? It's only 10,000 tickets to both because it's meant to be a neutral ground. So it's only 10,000 tickets to Scotland, 10,000 tickets to England. The rest are just neutrals. Dead. It's shit. The atmosphere is dead for that.
But in the pub, if you go to the pub in Newcastle or Glasgow or Edinburgh,
I don't think I'm going to venture to pubs for that game.
I'd be tempted to go. I'd actually want to go up to Edinburgh for that and go sit in a pub.
Why?
Bro, we did it for the Six Nations. We've done it for the Six Nations so many times.
It's slightly more civilized. The rugby is slightly more civilized.
Football, it's Edinburgh still. People
don't care that much.
There,
no one's going to jump.
It's not Leaf. If we went to Leaf, then we would probably get rushed.
Yeah.
Do you know what? We should go to Stratford.
Trick is you go.
Leaf or wherever you used to live. Yeah.
Just go to an Irish pub, and then that way is you get the real hardcore Scottish fans.
Yeah, but I still reckon they hate the English more than the Scottish.
Exactly. So you're going for the real trouble there. But just go fucking
sit in a nice French pub.
What was the boy? What's the boys down by the Hearts ground? The one that's open till 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, Stratford.
Yeah. Go in there, mate, and you get all the. To be fair, they'd be Scotland fans still, but they wouldn't hate you. They probably support England low key because they're like, I love the Queen that much.
Oh my god.
Could go to Dickens,
that was right near us, isn't it? Yeah,
right now we're just discussing plans for the Euros on a podcast. This is getting away from everything.
If you want to suggest great Scottish places and English places for us to watch the Euros.
Yeah, and and if we get famous, we'll live stream it, and basically, you see us get rowdy.
Make us famous so we can do that.
Yeah, basically get us famous, but don't cancel us, because it's
also if you get us famous, please come see me at the barbershop. Man's looking for customers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we're going to do that as a free bit of publicity because I always shout out my music. Shiv's a barber at Black Dog in Edinburgh. So if you are in Edinburgh and you want a free trim, go hit him up on his socials, which will be in the description as always, and you get a free haircut. So that was all cut out. What I just said, so that's going to be a bit of a jump. What I just said, and I had to make them shut up for a second so I can just jump back.
All right, that was so good.
Go get a trim from Shiv. In my opinion, he's the best natural barber in Black Dog. In my humble opinion,
I'm actually first in for a fade right now as well.
Jeez. Take a flight up. To be fair, I'm coming back down home for Christmas, so if you want to trim, then maybe the trip.
If BJ hits us up with a tin one,
take a fuck off trip to Luton just for a free trim. Spend more than a tenner on petrol for a free trim.
Exactly. Is that mate? Marginal gains.
Just wait till you're 4K smoking. Just wait till you're 4K smoky cuts and you're doing footballers' hairs. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Bro, that guy is crazy. I've literally heard, because obviously Ethan Ampadu is from Exeter. I heard from someone who was obviously mates with Ethan. That apparently, like, that guy just gets flown out, like when he was in Leipzig.
Are you talking about HD cuts?
Just flew him out to Leipzig.
Yeah, mate, that guy goes out to Germany like almost every other, or before lockdown.
Yeah,
every other week he used to go out to Germany to do Sancho's trim.
It's crazy.
Do, like, all the Dortmund lads, like, it's mad.
They just fly him out. They fly him out to go do haircuts. It's mental. Like, you got to bear in mind, Ethan Ampadu isn't necessarily like a big world class player, but he just flew him out to go give him his trim. It's mental.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. They've got a barber shop, to be fair, in London, and like all their cuts are clean.
Yeah,
like, you don't get to that stage without being like sick at what you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but also, like, I think knowing Raheem Sterling and being Raheem Sterling's father also helps.
Yeah,
connect.
Yeah, there is a point where, like, all it takes is one shout out from someone big. I said this on the Cow podcast about music, but it's in anything that you need to have someone big to shout you out to get you to the point where you're at. Like, the only way I can see this podcast really growing up is if someone on another podcast says they really enjoy it and they somehow watch it and tell everyone to come watch this. And then that's what you need. You need like as much as you can grind. People say, "Oh, you put the hard work in, it'll happen." It won't unless you have something. You need. There's so many people that want to do the same thing. There's so many people that want to do the same thing that you will not unless you have some sort of advantage, no matter how hard you work. And that's a life lesson for you kids.
Maybe if you after
you can't be waiting for that. Way. You can't be waiting for that. We've just got to grind. We like doing it.
Maybe at the end of the video though, like just in the description, put shout out for shout out, hashtag shout out for shout out,
hashtag for shout out,
like for like,
like follow for follow,
shout out for clout,
follow for follow, and then clout for clout.
Yeah,
donate for clout.
Nah, like,
Patreon for clout.
It's I mean, I don't know if people can tell, but when I said we were going to have a chat, we were really just going to have a chat, and it's like this is really what it's devolved to. We're just having this is what podcasts are meant to be, isn't it? Like, you just stick people on the camera and have a conversation. You know what I mean? They just talk shit. It doesn't always have to have a subject. Sometimes you just, especially when you get your mates on, like say for example, we can say Shiv's a guest, and you just talk to them about whatever. I've watched so many podcasts, so that's how it goes.
Shiv knows plenty about music as well. We could. Would you have felt comfortable if we just did a music?
I would have been okay with it. I feel like if you'd have given me a topic, I could have prepared for that, and that wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
I think if we.
I also understand that because Fofo is like a very analytical music man, it wouldn't feel right.
It's very different.
That's very, very understandable. That's okay.
Yeah, because I feel
I'm just happy to be Manchester in it and eating my overs.
But I said this from the start. I know the podcast is called Rounds of Pay or whatever, but like I don't want it to be just music. I want to be able to talk about all sorts of shit. Like the one thing I love, I bang on about it in our group chat enough is, bro, I just love fucking demons and shit. Like the concept of like possessions and like ghost stories and stuff. Bro, they're so cool. Like, I don't believe in it. This is the thing. I don't believe. So when I said in the group chat the other day, I was like, I really want to be possessed because I don't think it can happen. I don't think I could physically be possessed by a demon because they don't exist. So I want it to happen.
Being possessed is just having rabies, I swear.
Yeah, basically what it is.
Just being rabid is basically being possessed. Basically,
if you're possessed, you just have the horn. Like, you are just horny. That's what possession is. And then as soon as you bust one out, you get the post-nut clarity.
Post-nut clarity, and you are cleared of all your sins.
Yeah, you're exercised. But me and my mates back in the day, we used to, or they used to do it a lot more than me, go into like abandoned buildings and stuff. I didn't like it because I don't like the concept of crackheads. I don't like knowing that like, I don't care about the demons and ghosts and stuff. I care about
when you say concept of crackheads, what does that mean?
Concept of crackheads being
what is the concept of crackheads, please?
The concept of crackheads is that they are like,
this is some of the best chat we've had.
The stigma of crackheads, that they are all evil and that they will do anything for crack.
We've got a bad rep.
Yeah, I mean, people think that they'll kill for crack, and I for one believe in that. I think once you're on that crack and heroin, bro, there's no going back. You will do whatever. yeah, no, like I didn't like the idea of going into abandoned buildings where there could be crackheads and stuff like that. Like where you don't, I don't. If someone had been in there and cleared it out beforehand, I'd happily do it and try and do some ghost hunting stuff. But because we were just going in, bro. I remember one time we we went into this place down in Totnes, which is in Devon, and we hopped the fence. We were for ages trying to work out how to do it, and I was just like, bro, there's a padlock on the middle of the fence, just jump over it. So they all jumped over it, and we were walking over, and we saw these people there with their flashlights, and and everyone was like, shit, what do we do? So we all just legged it into this building, just stayed in this one room, and I had my flashlight on, and everyone was like, Mike, turn the fucking flashlight off. And I was like, bro, they've just seen us run in there. Like, I'd rather see them coming than not see them coming if anyone's going to do something. What is the difference of me turning a flashlight on or off? They know we're here. So, yeah, but I think they were just people doing the same things as us. And we vastly outnumbered them. So I don't know why we were so scared. But it's just the adrenaline gets pumping when you're there. And I remember one time as well, I don't know if anyone, people who watching this because of me will know Barry Pomeroy in Devon, and it's really meant to be really haunted. It's like an old school castle, and I remember we drove down there once and we saw what we thought was a new cemetery, and that's all it took for us to say, fuck this, we're gone. Like, it wasn't even in the castle, we just saw it and we went, nah, we're not on this anymore, and just left. Like, this is the thing, your adrenaline gets pumping that much that even things you don't
we
believe
need ghost stories with Mike. That's got
to be a full episode itself.
I don't, this is the thing, I don't have any ghost story. I've never seen a ghost. I don't believe in them. So like when I say I'm not religious and I don't believe in afterlife and stuff, that means I don't believe in ghosts as well. I really don't believe in that shit. I think once you die,
I'm just a massive pussy. Anything that it has like the slightest bit of scariness, I'm not a fan. Luke, do you remember when you came up to mine in like first or second year summer, and we had the barbecue, like you, Dale, Charlie?
Oh yeah, we were in that,
and we went to that field, and then it was like either a graveyard.
No, it was the little outside chapel.
Mate, that was not. See, at night, Halloween night, the juju there scares me. Like, I stay away from that.
Bang the judge. Stop banging judge.
I stay away from that. It scares.
But I don't know, bro. I don't like. This is the thing: is that things that are in reality are scary, but the concept of spirits and that are not. It's what could happen to you in real life, the people that are around you in real life, that's scary. Not. But there's no such thing as a spirit. It's just your mind playing tricks on you. It really is. But like. I mean, people say that people say that they've seen it clear as day, and I say,
I thought you loved demons, man. I thought you loved demons.
No, I love the concept. I love the concept of it, of the fact that could, like,
in the same way that he loves the concept of crackheads.
Yeah, I want to know if they're real. So I want to do like a Ouija board and shit. Like, I really want to do one, and I want to like see. But I just know if I do a Ouija board, there's going to be one person there that's bad-minded, and they want to try and trick us.
They're going to push.
Yeah. So
right. I want to see it where it just like stays still.
I want to do it by myself, and I touch it, and it can do it. If it can do it with me by myself, and I know I'm not doing it, then I know that it's real, and then I'll be like,
you stay away from me for at least 3 months after you've been exercised. If you do any of this,
I don't exercise. I'm not on about. I don't exercise.
You're gonna have to, mate.
Bro. So like, yeah, like, I'm a massive skeptic to the point where, like I said, I will happily do, if anyone's watching this and they want to go ghost hunting with me, if you're happy to scout out the building beforehand and make sure there's no crackheads in there, let's do it. Like, but I'm not risking my life getting stabbed.
You're okay to go ghost hunting as long as there's definitely no ghosts.
No, I'm happy to go in there as long as there's no crackheads. There could be demons in there.
Crackheads.
If the demons are in there, let's go.
No crackheads. But ghosts,
bro, I'm on demon time always. I'm on demon time, bro. If I get possessed by the devil, it's just
do crackheads not come out there as like supernatural beings?
Sometimes
are they not under the same category?
They're the closest thing to
I swear they are undefeated.
Yeah, bro. And I saw a tweet the other day, and it's like, how do crackheads walk faster than they run?
It's a good tweet.
Bro,
it's a very valid point too.
Crackheads are underrated. Like, obviously living in Gorgie for a while, I got to know them, you know, living in
Amongst
the belly of the beast, so to speak. And you know,
Mate, late night Thursdays, walking home in the dark down Corgi is not a place I enjoy.
see, you are just a big scaredy cat. That's what you are. You're a big scaredy cat.
I was on a bus one time and I felt scared.
I'm the same. I'm sweating. Palms are sweating. Knees weak, arms are.
Did I ever? I've told you about.
Arms are heavy.
I told you about the time when I was walking back to yours when you were walking back from yours when you were living.
Must have been Polworth.
And I told you about the time when the crackhead ran up on me and asked me where I was going and where I'm staying, and I was just like, bro, I'm going home. So I just crossed the road.
See, to me,
I just crossed.
That's sweaty bum time for me.
They're weird. They're weird. I had my headphones on and I saw this guy running, and like naturally when you're walking at night, I don't know about you, but you get paranoid anyway that you might get jumped or something. So you're ready for something. Guy runs up, stops. I take off my headphone. I was like, he said something. I was like, what? And he's like, where you going? And I can't do a Scottish accent off the rip like that. But and I was like, I'm going home. And he was like, what are you going there now? Are you staying there? I was like, yeah. And I was like, I was half expecting him to say, can I come with you? And I just kind of stared at him for a little bit longer, and we kind of had this conversation. He had the crack pipe in his mouth still. It's fucking weird. It was weird as fuck. And I just went, all right, okay. I just crossed the road, and I saw him run on, and he started doing some weird shit. And I was like, what the fuck is going through this guy's mind right now? Like, what is actually going through his mind? And they're just weird people, man. Like, people that are on crack and heroin and drawn out, bro, they're just weird. Like that they become zombies, and they don't have a functioning brain anymore. They're just so weird.
We need like a link to Samaritans to equal out this chat, I think.
Yeah, true. This is not our best chat.
Oh, it is great chat.
We could definitely try and do some.
But everyone has those spirits. I think I've had a similar experience.
What, talking to nitties?
A lot of people. Just weird.
They're fantastic.
Donate to the Samaritans.
Donate to Samaritans. Make sure they're not. Yeah, make sure.
Samaritans aren't doing anything for the nitties. Samaritans aren't out. Nitties don't have the phones. Nitties don't have phones. They shot off for crack. How are they going to get onto Samaritans? Samaritans are a helpline.
Donate to the Samaritans. Help. Drug charities.
Help drug charities.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. That's the stance. You can't take me with your rubbish chat.
Stop trying to censor me, Mike.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not saying anything bad about crackheads. I love them. I said them. I do love them, but they fear me sometimes. They do strike fear in me. We're just chatting shit now. We really are.
I think this is done.
Do either of you have anything you want to say? Either of you have anything you want to say? Any?
I think I did. I think I was going to ask Shiv about music. What he's been listening to. Do you want to do that in 7 minutes?
So yeah, I'll go for that.
I mean, we can do it long. We can go longer. We can go 2 hours
sure.
if you want. Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
What have I been listening to lately? So like recently, probably during the summer, I was on a lot of house tech house and like disco kind of vibes. Recently I've been discovering a lot of new music. Recently made the change to Spotify, so it's allowing me to like discover new artists a lot easier.
So much better.
Listen to a lot more like grime, drill, stuff that I wasn't listening to a lot of new music. I was listening to a lot of the same stuff that I knew on repeat. But I feel like I'm branching off into different areas of like hip hop as well, or like R&B at least, like different sub branches. It's nice. It is nice. I've been listening to a lot of like Gold Link. Do you know what? I'll get up now. I'll see what I've been listening to.
Spotify is the shit. So Spotify, if you want to give us a bag and you're watching this, just we'll do a brand deal with you right now.
But obviously a lot of Jay Prince, Reggie Snow.
Shout out Reggie.
Jay Prince is great. Yeah, Jay Prince.
Quite a lot of Masego recently. Royal Kana.
A lot of lo-fi hip hop, man.
Miguel. Actually, I've been listening to a fair bit of Miguel recently. What else? Do you know what? I'll get up some
Is
of
it
my favourite stuff.
is it
Duckworth? Duckworth is huge.
Duckworth's great. Yeah.
Is it J. Cole and Miguel? Not J. Cole and Miguel. Is it Jeremiah and Miguel that have that tune? No, I'm talking shit. It's not Miguel on that tune at all. I'm talking about the one where it's the J. Cole tune where he's like dick so big it's like a foot is in your mouth.
Oh, that's Jeremiah and J. Cole.
Yeah.
That's
good. That's a good tune.
Miguel's amazing, man. The voice on that.
It's mad. It's mad how like he just kind of like gets slept on. Actually,
kind of does. Yeah.
I mean, I've only listened to like one of his songs, and it's the one Power Trip with J. Cole.
Yeah,
but the hook on that is incredible.
Hard GCSE year vibes.
Yeah, oh yeah, year 10.
Like the summer of GCSE.
Yeah.
I'm like, jeez, that is like a tune.
Yeah.
What else I've been listening to? I've been listening to a fair bit of Earth Gang. Wise will be happy about that.
Oh yeah, he loves that, man.
Just a lot of Abra as well, like that kind of vibe.
Oh yes, yes. Abra. Finding that was one of my highlights.
Yeah,
when you say Abra, are you talking Abracadabra, the drill rapper?
No, not Abracadabra, the drill.
This is like an R&B, lo-fi R&B person. Yeah,
it's a good
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm really enjoying my music at the moment. Like, listen to different stuff every day, and it's been really, really nice. It's been refreshing, actually. Not listening to the same stuff every day. Like, been good.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I've been
Brent Fires, obviously. Brent Fires is class.
I've been going for
Masego is a big one for me. Masego has been coming up a lot, and I'm like, wow, just got a lot of time for this.
Very relaxing vibes you're on, man.
Yeah,
very, very chill.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I've not really been into like my electronic music of late, like my dance music, and it's not because I dislike it or anything. I've just been.
So it's the wrong season for it.
A different mindset. Yeah, it's like completely wrong season for it.
Bro,
I saw one of those like tweets where they just had like a heavy Nina Kravitz set.
Oh, it sounds like a construction site. Is that the tweet?
Yeah. It's such an easy tweet to get 7,000 likes on, man.
Yeah.
It's dead. Because people do like that.
I don't miss it, you know. I don't miss it.
That reminds me of Fly when we saw Nina Kravitz there, and we literally went
in. Pounded. We said no.
Yeah, we were like, nah, we're going home at this point.
It's really hard to follow up like a really light techno kind of disco
boiler room set
to then go out to like the main stage and see Nina Kravitz. This is what I want.
It's literally what it's like, but
that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah, if anyone wants to hire me for beatboxing, I am available. I'm available for beatboxing.
Wow.
But no, I've gone for a stage of right at the moment. I mean, I'm still obviously listening to music fucking daily because that's what I do. But I've just gone for a stage where I've really gone off a lot of stuff, and it's really jarring me. I've listened to the same shit over and over and over, and I can't find anything new that I like. I like. It's just I don't know what it is. I can't listen to music right now properly.
Do you venture out of the genres you like that much?
Huh?
Do you venture out of the genres that you like?
Yeah, man. I've been listening to loads of shit. Like I've been listening to like a lot of Indian stuff and trying to just find anything. I remember like for a long time, when I was so late to the party on Arctic Monkeys, like so late that when I found their first album like a year ago, or no, not even a year ago, but like 4 months ago, when I finally listened to it, when I finally got over the fact and I was going to listen to it, I fell in love with it, and I was like, this is awesome. And like it brings like inspiration to me making music personally when I find something that I love and I listen to it, whereas I can't find that right now. So when I'm trying to make music, I can't right now because I've got no inspiration on it. But we were when I was producing last time in the world's biggest what if ever, Turismo Dave.
R.I.P. Our fallen soldier.
The film's still coming. The film still has to come. I need to start writing.
We need to get on the production of that film, man. That's how we blow up. That's how we blow up. We can make the comeback after selling off our story as a Netflix production.
Me and you would have to learn to DJ probably, but actually you weren't bad. You've been pretty good.
I was going to say, like, I want to clarify that I'm not going to paint myself under that brush because I actually rated myself a little bit. It's more the production.
Do you know what I was thinking? Do you know what I was thinking of when I was talking about the people in a group that sometimes don't do anything, but they're just there and they know it? Corrupt FM. That's who I was thinking of. in my head. Some
Yes.
of them that just they can mix, but they don't like. That's basically what it was. It's like we were just. There was a fun time in uni life, Turismo Dave, which obviously started.
Yeah, third year for sure. Like Turismo Dave when it kicked off, that was a vibe. Like
because you and Del did it as a joke originally, didn't you? Like
it was second year summer it must have been, and we were pissing about when we were in Draylen, and we came up with Turismo Dave, and I had no idea how to mix, and Luke had a kind of like a very broad understanding of it, and like used to come around to Dale's. And then that was Turismo Dave, and then you came along, and it was Turismo Dave with Mitts, and now it's just a collective Turismo Dave. Yeah.
And it was good. It was a lot of fun, man. Those mixes and sessions were so much fun.
Bro, it was
when
just
stuff used to hit.
Even when stuff didn't hit, like even when the time when it was like we were just all cramming into Dale's room to try and make a tune, which was it wasn't even that good of a tune, but it was just fun. Like and like it was literally just like it was just good fun, and like it's one of those things like, I would have loved to have just carried on doing that. Like I can see why people can do that for the rest of their life, because doing it by yourself it gets a bit stressful and tedious, but when you're doing it with your mates it's so fun. Like,
to be fair, it was heaps of fun. If fourth year uni life hadn't killed the vibe, like I would still happily be doing it now. And if we were still all together in Edinburgh,
if it wasn't for COVID, it would 100%. Probably still be a thing. We'd probably still be doing it, because I'd still be in Edinburgh. I don't know about Luke, but you probably could have found a job better without COVID.
Hopefully, probably.
COVID killed Turismo Dave, but
just like to shout out Cockney Joe one time for the sample pack.
I'll never forget that. I'll never ever in my life forget that sample pack, bro. I remember what we were on Splice, wasn't it? We were just searching through.
Yeah.
Because I had like 1,000 credits on Splice because I didn't use it in so long, and we were just searching through, and fucking Cockney Joe pops up, and it's like, what is it said? It's like, is it like the bass will blow
2 or 3 pills, and I was fucking rushing.
2 or 3 is fucking rushing.
Dude, that's mad.
If anyone wants to listen to that song, go listen to it, because honestly,
SoundCloud Turismo Dave,
Turismo.png.
Track ID is called Turismo.png. Give it a listen.
Honestly, and
maybe.
I mean, you could tell that that my production's been on there because it uses the riser that I always used to use in every single tune.
Yes. Yeah.
But I didn't even understand the concept of that you can make other things rise. I was like, this one riser is perfect for everything.
Yeah, that track, even though it's a joke song, like I've got a lot of love for that song.
It was just fun to make it.
Effort went into that.
Yeah.
Sitting there with Del explained to me how the skeleton of a track is made. And he's like, well, you need to do this first. You need to do that. And I'm like, well, how do I make a bass line? He's talking me through the whole thing.
It's so funny how you took so long on it, and then I came in, and in 2 days I was like, right, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I was like, right, this. Yeah.
You put the flesh onto the bones.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been one of them people, though. I'm very quick when I make music. I think when I spoke to Cal about it, I asked him, I said, how long does it take you to make a tune? Because some people take so long. For me, I can't take longer than 2 days, because then I end up hating it. So it's like, I have to bash it out. And I learned to do it because I refused to pay for Fruity Loops on my PC. So I would always have the trial version.
Save the track.
So you can't save the track and reopen it. So you have to do it all really in one sitting. So it really tests you. So, yeah, that was good fun. That was oh shit. The real ghetto come up is real fun when you have no money. I mean, I don't think I'd want to. If someone put like any of us, I don't obviously like we're not experienced in any way in production like that. But someone put us in a big studio, I wouldn't have a fucking clue what I was doing. I just know how to work a door.
Yeah. But also, if there's anyone out there listening to this that really wants to hook us up and help us reignite our Turismo Dave career, and wants to drop us some cash to download Ableton, that'd be class.
Sponsor us right now. We're the next big thing. Really,
we could be played at the next Ibiza Circle Loco set.
I'm not joking. If we no, I'm not. This is the thing is I had this conversation on my 22nd birthday, and we weren't exactly sober, but I was convinced that if we made a serious run at it, we had the right energy to to actually do something, but we just never had a chance to make a run at it because
we
of
never
COVID.
did.
Do you know what? We can look back at your 22nd as a massive what if moment.
What could have been? What could have been?
I remember sat there in that.
Mike was dead keen for an afters, getting the decks on at his Millhouse and getting people around, and he invited pretty much everyone in PDT.
Bro, I literally was going around and I was like, there's an after party of mine. And I was literally like, I remember turning to Del and Shiv and I was like, Del, Shiv, this is the turning point for Turismo Dave. We get everyone in there and everyone knows about us. And they were like, nah, I just want to go home. And I was like, for fuck's sake. I was like, how are we going to do this? And then we got back to Dutchavelli, sat in the living room, and we were like, and I was like, boys, we have to be serious about this. We can do this. We can do this. And I was like, if you guys aren't serious about this, I'm just going to go solo and make it.
Well, Del went solo anyway.
Yeah,
he went solo anyway. I can't believe it. Well, Turismo Dave, as I said in the group chat the other day, it's now transferred itself into a spiritual entity. Yeah. So it lives on. But if you believe in it, it lives on in you. So
you know what? Right, I'm gonna
take that with you.
I'm gonna put a comment saying, thumbs this comment up if you want to see more Turismo Dave, because we can, because we make EDM, we can produce over the internet. Just you jump in a Zoom call or whatever. So if people want to see it, we will bring something out. We really will.
Just want David Guetta music. That's what I want to get us to make David Guetta.
That's right, like a David Guetta type beat.
But Turismo Dave could very well make a comeback. And basically we'll just because I'm retiring from MCs, Luke and Shiv can be the MCs and me and Dale can be the chosen states.
Holler with the renting sound. Holler with the renting sound.
On the ones and twos. On the ones and twos.
We are the modern day rebel sound.
Right.
But we're waffling, so we'll end it here because Shiv needs.
We are waffling, yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Shiv will be with us for the foreseeable future, and if Phil comes back, if people love Shiv, and we'll just keep him in because you see those black spaces at the bottom, they should be filled really, so we can have 4. But if we have 5, then when we bring on a guest, it could get sticky. But yeah, if you guys love Shiv, message me privately so I can
also drop a like on the video if you want me to stay over for Waz. I'm moving in, baby.
Oh,
he's got, bro. What do you mean? Waz is dead.
Shit, yeah.
You actually want to stay, Shiv?
I'm quite happy to stay. I'm enjoying this.
That's really nice, mate.
I am.
Enough of that cheek, mate. You watch what you say.
I am a ruthless dictator on this podcast. Editor-in-chief and ruthless dictator. But obviously if you enjoyed, fucking leave a like, share it, subscribe or do whatever. We're just having fun. Like, this is for us is fun. We talk to each other anyway, so we don't really care if you like it. Nah, just kidding. Nah, but if you want to see any topics brought up, just leave a comment, do whatever. Cool.
Yeah, as you can see, we will fucking talk about anything.
Literally anything. We'll do anything. But yeah, cool. We'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed. See you in a bit. Wait, end the recording.